Driven to Victory, Dale Jarrett's NASCAR story. Dale Jarrett is a former NASCAR Cup Series, Busch Series, now Xfinity Series, and IROC driver who competed from 1982 through 2008. Jarrett was a second-generation driver. His father, Ned Jarrett, is a two-time Cup Series champion. He won it in 1961 and 1965. Dale found his way to the top of the sport in 1999 when he won his own NASCAR Cup Series championship, along with a Hall of Fame career that we are going to cover from start to finish right here in this video. Dale Arnold Jarrett was born November 26, 1956 in Conover, North Carolina. Playing golf, football, basketball, and baseball while in high school. Once he graduated in 1975, Jarrett knew what he wanted to do with his life. He wanted to follow in his father's footsteps to the top of NASCAR. Even though the University of South Carolina offered him a full scholarship for playing golf, Dale declined because he wanted to be a race car driver. Starting in April 1977, he took the first steps toward entering his first professional race in the limited sportsman division at Hickory Motor Speedway, the track his father managed. Driving a 1968 Chevy Nova, prepared by Andy Petrie and Jimmy Newsom. Dale started the event last and finished ninth. Dale continued to race in the limited sportsman division for the next 2 years. Then he made the jump up to the Dash Series, and by 1982, Jarrett made his Xfinity Series debut at Daytona in the spring, behind the wheel of a number 24 Ford from Marvin Thaxton, starting 20th and finishing 10th, making 28 starts throughout that first season in 1982, making 20 starts from Martin Thaxton. Dale's older brother, Glenn Jarrett, would end up making over 60 Xfinity Series starts throughout the rest of the 1980s for Marvin Thaxton's team, and 8 starts behind the wheel of a number 32 Pontiac for Horace Eisenhower. Jarrett's best documented start was 8th at Caraway Speedway in the summer, and his best finish was 3rd at Hickory in the fall. For his first season at this level, Dale had a very solid season, spending the entire season between 3rd and 10th in point standings, ending up 6th by season's end. Overall, in 28 starts, Jarrett scored 1 top 5 and 14 top 10s, finishing 6th in final Xfinity Series point standings. From 1983 through 1990, Horace Eisenhower gave Dale Jarrett his first full-time ride in NASCAR, behind the wheel of a number 32, with a variety of sponsors over the years, including Econo Lodge, Budweiser, and Nestle Crunch. And the team ran GM brands, such as Buicks, Pontiacs, and Oldsmobiles over the years. During this time, Jarrett made 191 Xfinity Series starts. His first victory came in 1986 at Rougemont in the late summer. This after he qualified in the pole and led all 150 laps en route to his first career victory. Jarrett's best start was first, 13 times, at Langley Field Speedway in the late summer, then South Boston, Rougemont, and Martinsville in the fall of 1983. Rougemont in the spring of 1984, Langley Field Speedway in the spring, 3 out of the 4 South Boston races, Oxford Plains Speedway and Rougemont in the summer of 1986, Hickory in the spring of 1988, and Hickory in the spring of 1989. His best finish was first 5 times, at Rougemont in the late summer of 1986, Hickory in the summer of 1987, Charlotte in the spring of 1988, and Charlotte and Darlington in the fall of 1990. Overall, in 191 Xfinity Series starts, Dale Jarrett scored 13 poles, 5 wins, 71 top 5s, and 111 top 10s, with the best points finish of 4th twice, in 1984 and 1986. Now, also during this time, Jarrett made his NASCAR Cup Series debut in 1984, behind the wheel of Emmanuel Zervakis' number 02 Chevrolet at Martinsville in the spring, starting 24th and finishing 14th. He made a couple other Cup Series starts later in the 84 season, though Jarrett would get a more full-time opportunity in 1987, when Tommy Ellis and Eric Freelander parted ways after a rough start to the 1987 season. Dale took over the number 18 Chevrolet for the rest of the 1987 season. Bobby King served as his crew chief for the 87 season. Jarrett's best start was 10th at Martinsville in the fall, and his best finish was 10th twice, at Bristol in the spring and Martinsville in the fall. Overall, in 24 starts, Jarrett scored 2 top 10s, finishing 26th in final NASCAR Cup Series point standings. Dale and Freelander parted ways at the conclusion of the 1987 season. Without a single full-time seat, Jarrett put a full schedule together for the 1988 season, between 4 different teams. making 19 starts behind the wheel of Cale Yarborough's number 29 Hardy's Oldsmobile, making 8 starts behind the wheel of Hoss Ellington's number 1 Portaloo Buick, then a one-off apiece in Ralph Ball's number 99 Chevrolet when Jarrett didn't qualify Ellington's number 1 in the spring Atlanta race. It was one of those buy-a-ride deals. Then at Charlotte in the spring for the Coca-Cola 600, Dale was behind the wheel of Buddy Arrington's number 67 Chevrolet, spending the entire 1988 NASCAR Cup Series season between 24th and 16th in point standings. A huge limiting factor on Jarrett's 1988 season was his DNFs. He racked up 14 in 29 races. His best start was 7th at Rockingham in the spring, and his best finish was 8th at Riverside in the early summer. Overall, in 29 starts, Jarrett scored 1 top 10, finishing 23rd in final NASCAR Cup Series point standings. Yarborough put Dale behind the wheel of his number 29 Hardy's Pontiac full-time for the 1989 NASCAR Cup Series season. There were definitely improvements from the season prior for Jarrett. Less DNFs, 12 down from 14, and more top 5s and top 10s. His best start was 9th at Darlington in the spring, and his best finish was 5th twice at Martinsville and Phoenix in the fall. Overall, in 29 starts, Jarrett led 99 laps and scored 2 top 5s and 5 top 10s, finishing 24th in final NASCAR Cup Series point standings. Jarrett and Yarborough parted ways at the conclusion of the 1989 season. After Neil Bonnet started the 1990 season as the driver of the Wood Brothers Racing number 21 Sitco Ford, Bonnet made the decision to retire from full-time competition following a severe crash at Darlington in the spring of 1990. The accident caused Bonnet amnesia and dizziness. This, among other reasons, led him to retire. Starting the next week, the Wood brothers put Jarrett behind the wheel of the number 21 Ford. He would remain there for the rest of the 1990 season through the end of the 1991 season. His best start was 4th at North Wilkesboro in the fall of 1990, and his best finish was 1st at Michigan in the late summer of 1991. This was Dale's first career NASCAR Cup Series victory. Overall, in 53 starts, Jarrett scored 1 win, 4 top 5s, and 15 top 10s, with the best points finish at 17th in 1991. Jarrett and the Wood brothers mutually parted ways at the conclusion of the 91 season. Down in the Xfinity Series, Jarrett purchased the team that he spent the majority of the 1980s driving for, the number 32 that Horace Eisenhower owned. Now, as an owner-driver in the Xfinity Series, Dale found a good amount of success in that number 32 Nestle Crunch Pontiac in 1991. His best start was 5th at Dover in the early summer, and his best finish was 1st 3 times, at Rockingham and Darlington in the spring, then Bristol in the fall. Overall, in 17 starts, Jarrett scored 3 wins, 8 top 5s, and 9 top 10s, finishing 23rd in final Xfinity Series point standings. After winning 3 National Football League Super Bowls in 1982, 1987, and 1992. Joe Gibbs and his sons, J.D. and Coy Gibbs, helped him form a brand new NASCAR Cup Series race team, a single-car entry, the number 18 Interstate Battery Chevrolet. Jimmy Maycar served as Dale's crew chief while he drove the number 18. This was Gibbs' first foray into the NASCAR world. For Jarrett, this was his first time in the NASCAR Cup Series with a team that was pretty much built around him from the ground up. He would remain behind the wheel of Gibbs' number 18 Chevrolet from 1992 through 1994, making 89 starts throughout the 3-season stretch. Jarrett's father, Ned, had become one of NASCAR's top color commentators and analysts over the years, and he got to call the battle between Dale Earnhardt and Dale Jarrett to the start-finish line in the 1993 Daytona 500. Jarrett edged out Earnhardt by just a bit. The 93 Daytona 500 was by far the biggest victory of Jarrett's career to that point. His best start was 2nd at Daytona in the spring of 1993, and his best finish was 1st twice at Daytona in the spring of 1993 and Charlotte in the fall of 1994. Overall, in 89 starts, Jarrett scored 2 wins, 19 top 5s, and 35 top 10s, with the best points finish of 4th in 1993. At the end of the 1994 season, Dale Jarrett and Joe Gibbs Racing parted ways, opening the door for Bobby Labonte to join Joe Gibbs Racing, where he would find the vast majority of his success that he would find in the NASCAR Cup Series driving that number 18 Interstate Batteries Chevrolets and Pontiacs. If you want to hear and see a play-by-play account of Labonte's entire racing career, check out our video, Bobby Labonte, The Tale of Two NASCAR Careers. Now down in the Xfinity Series, Dale Jarrett made 32 starts from 1992 through 1994, 10 behind the wheel of a self-owned number 18 Interstate Batteries Chevrolet, and 22 starts behind the wheel of a self-owned number 32 Chevrolet. Jarrett's best start was second at Charlotte in the fall of 1992. His best finish was second 3 times at Darlington in the fall of 1992 and 1994, then Daytona in the spring of 1994. Overall, in 32 Xfinity Series starts, Jarrett scored 8 top 5s and 14 top 10s, with a best points finish of 28th in 1992. Jarrett debuted in the International Race of Champions, or IROC Series, at Daytona in the spring. His best finish was third, twice, at Daytona in the spring and Talladega in the fall. Ernie Irvan was on track to be Dale Earnhardt's biggest challenger for the 1994 NASCAR Cup Series Championship, until he was involved in a life-threatening accident in Michigan International Speedway in the late summer. Jarrett served as Irvan's fill-in driver for the 1995 season, behind the wheel of the Robert Yates Racing number 28 Texaco Haviland Ford. Larry McReynolds served as Jarrett's crew chief in 95, spending the first 4 weeks of the season inside the top 5 in point standings, and the first 10 weeks inside the top 10 in points. Dale's best start was first at Daytona in the spring, and his best finish was first at Pocono in July. Overall, in 31 starts, Jarrett scored 1 pole, 1 win, 9 top 5s, and 14 top 10s, finishing 13th in final NASCAR Cup Series point standings. As Jarrett had become accustomed to doing over the years in the series, he made select starts behind the wheel of a self-owned number 32 Mack Tools Ford in the Xfinity Series. His best start was first in Michigan in August, and his best finish was first 3 times, at Milwaukee in the summer, then Richmond and Homestead in the fall. Overall, in 12 Xfinity Series starts, Jarrett scored 1 pole, 3 wins, 5 top 5s, and 5 top 10s, finishing 32nd in final Xfinity Series point standings. Irvan began making select starts near the conclusion of the 1995 season, gearing up for a full-time return to his number 28 Texaco Haviland Ford starting at the beginning of the 1996 season. Dale Jarrett would drive the number 88 Quality Care Ford for Robert Yates from 1996 through 2000. Then, from 2001 through 2006, UPS became the primary sponsor for the number 88 Ford, going on a tear in the Cup Series, now finishing worse than 5th in final point standings from 1996 through 2001, including 28 victories and the 1999 NASCAR Cup Series Championship. The Robert Yates Racing that Jarrett joined in the mid-1990s was not at all the team that he parted ways with following the 2006 season. The team had went through all kinds of transformations over Jarrett's 11-season stay with the team. Todd Parrott served as Jarrett's crew chief from 1996 through 2002, then 9 races in 2005. Brad Parrott, Todd's brother, served as Jarrett's crew chief for the first 8 races of the season. Then Sean Parker served as Jarrett's crew chief for the final 24 races of the 2003 season. Mike Ford was the crew chief for all of 2004 and the first 11 races of the 2005 season. Billy Wilburn came on board for 16 starts. Then Todd Parrott returned to the number 88 team to serve as the team's crew chief for the 9 starts that I previously mentioned. Slugger Labby began the 2006 season as Jarrett's crew chief, but following race 20, he was replaced by Butch Hilton for the remainder of the 2006 season. We will break Jarrett's time with the number 88 Robert Yates Racing Ford team down to 4 stages. Stage 1, 1996 through 1998. We will call it establishing themselves as a championship threat. Actually leading the Cup Series point standings for the first 7 weeks in 1996 and 6 weeks early in the 97 season. Otherwise, Jarrett remained inside the top 5 in Cup Series point standings during this time period. His best start was first, 7 times, at Darlington and Rockingham in the fall of 1996, Darlington in Texas in the spring, then Michigan in the early summer of 1997, Las Vegas in the spring, and Darlington in the fall of 1998. Jarrett's best finish was first 14 times, at Daytona and Charlotte in the spring, then Indianapolis and Michigan in the summer of 1996, meaning that Jarrett won his second Daytona 500 and his first ever Brickyard 400 in Indianapolis, where he and the number 88 team started a tradition still performed to this day. After winning the 1996 Brickyard 400, Jarrett and his team knelt down and kissed the strip of bricks running across the start-finish line on the track. Then Atlanta and Darlington in the spring, Pocono and Bristol in the summer, then Richmond and Charlotte, and Phoenix in the fall of 1997. Darlington and Dover in the spring, then Talladega in the fall of 1998. Overall, 96 starts, Jarrett scored 6 poles, 14 wins, 56 top 5s, and 66 top 10s, with a best points finish of second in 1997. By 1998, Dale had also found victory lane at Talladega in the Winston 500 as well. In celebration of NASCAR's 50-year anniversary, they came out with the 50 greatest drivers in NASCAR history. Dale was one of those 50 drivers. Starting in 1996, Jarrett ran the IROC series full-time from 1997 through 2002. His best finish was first twice, at Daytona in the spring of 2001 and Indianapolis in the summer of 2002. Overall, in 28 IROC series starts, Dale scored 2 wins, 8 top 5s, and 23 top 10s, with a best points finish of third in 2002. Following the 2002 season, Jarrett officially retired from the IROC series. Next, we have Stage 2, 1999, the championship season. After starting the 1999 season off with a lap 134 accident in the Daytona 500 and finishing 37th, Jarrett got that number 88 Ford team off to a bit of a slow start to their season as far as point standings. Though by race 6, they were in the top 5, and by race 11, they were leading the point standings. From there, they never relinquished the point lead for the remainder of the 1999 season. Jarrett's best start was second 4 times. At California in the spring, Dover and Pocono in the summer, then Loudon in the fall. His best finish was first 4 times. At Richmond in the spring, Michigan in June, and Daytona and Indianapolis in the summer. Overall, in 34 starts, Jarrett scored 4 wins, 24 top 5s, and 29 top 10s, leading 1,061 laps throughout the season, and winning the 1999 NASCAR Cup Series championship. Back in the Xfinity Series, Dale made 43 starts between the seasons of 1996 and 1999, all but one behind the wheel of a cell-phone number 32 Ford. In 1999, he made a one-off start at Darlington in the fall, behind the wheel of a number 11 Rayovac Ford that he co-owned with Green Bay Packers quarterback Brett Favre. Jarrett's best start was first at Charlotte in the spring of 1996. His best finish was second 5 times, at Daytona in the spring, Bristol in the late summer, Dover and Rockingham in the fall of 1996, then Rockingham in the spring of 1997. Overall, in 43 Xfinity Series starts, Jarrett scored 9 top 5s and 18 top 10s, with the best points finish of 22nd in 1996. Then we have Stage 3, from 2000 to 2002, the fight to stay championship worthy. In a sport where the older you get, you begin to age out of having the ability to have a strong driver in the NASCAR Cup Series. Over the more than 75 years in NASCAR history, rarely does drivers over the age of 45 win races. Some of the drivers who have won races over the age of 45 include Bobby Allison, Harry Gant, and Mark Martin. Approaching this age in 2000, at age 43, Jarrett was still competitive and a threat to win on a regular basis, making 106 starts during this time period. Dale's best start was first, 9 times, at both Daytona races and Atlanta in the spring of 2000, at both Dover races, Las Vegas and Atlanta in the spring, then Watkins Glen in the late summer of 2001, and Michigan in June of 2002. Jarrett's best finish was first 8 times, at Daytona in the spring of 2000, winning his 3rd and final Daytona 500 of his career, behind the wheel of Yates number 88 Quality Care Ford, also winning at Rockingham in the fall of 2000, Darlington, Texas, and Martinsville in the spring, then Loudon in the summer of 2001, Pocono in the early summer, and Michigan in the late summer of 2002. Dale was still very competitive in the early 2000s, even leading the point standings on 3 different occasions in 2000 and 2001 for a total of 13 weeks. Overall, in 106 starts, Jarrett scored 9 poles, 8 wins, 37 top 5s, and 61 top 10s, with the best points finish of 4th in 2000. Longtime crew chief Todd Parrott left the number 88 team's pit box to become the director of competition for Robert Yates Racing. This began a series of crew chief changes to try to improve the number 88 team's performance. At last, we will call the final stage, Stage 4, the fall. Dale Jarrett remained behind the wheel of Robert Yates Racing's number 88 UPS Ford from 2003 through 2006, with Todd Parrott serving as Robert Yates Racing's competition director. Jarrett's number 88 Ford team really began to flounder, flirting with the top 10 points position a couple different times throughout this time period. Sean Parker served as Dale's crew chief for the majority of the 2003 season. Mike Ford led Jarrett's 88 team in 2004 in the first 11 races of the 2005 season. Then Billy Wilburn took over for 17 races. In the middle of the 2005 season, that's when Todd Parrott returned to the number 88 team for the final 9 races of the 2005 season. This is when Jarrett would win his 32nd and final NASCAR Cup Series race at Talladega in the fall of 2005. Jarrett's best start was first at Daytona in the spring of 2005, and his best finish was first twice at Rockingham in the spring of 2003 and Talladega in the fall of 2005. Jarrett's final season driving for Robert Yates Racing was 2006. Slugger Labbe began the season as his crew chief until race 21 in Indianapolis, when Butch Hilton took over the position for the remainder of the 2006 season. In all fairness, the first 9 races of the 2006 season were pretty solid, not finishing worse than 20th. This allowed Jarrett to stay right around 10th position in points. Following a first lap accident in the Coca-Cola 600 after contact from Robbie Gordon spun Jarrett out and made him back that number 88 UPS Ford into the turn 3 fence. This accident was followed by 11 straight races in which Jarrett would finish 20th or worse, dropping him into the mid-20s in points for the remainder of the 2006 season. His best start was second at Talladega in the fall, and his best finish was 4th at Kansas in the fall. Overall, in 36 starts, Jarrett scored 1 top 5 and 4 top 10s, finishing 23rd in final NASCAR Cup Series point standings. Dale returned to the Xfinity Series in 2005, behind the wheel of Robert Yates Racing's number 90 City Financial Ford for 5 starts. His best start was 12th at California in the spring, and his best finish was 4th at Dover in the early summer. Overall, in 5 starts, Jarrett scored 1 top 5 and 2 top 10s. At the conclusion of the 2006 season, Jarrett and Yates parted ways. Michael Waltrip expanded his team, Michael Waltrip Racing, into a NASCAR Cup Series team after spending years as a part-time Xfinity Series race team. Toyota had just joined the NASCAR Cup Series as well, and Michael Waltrip Racing were the top Toyota team in 2007. Nonetheless, they struggled very bad. The fact that NASCAR had removed the past champions provisional from their system going into 2000 meant that Jarrett either had to be inside the top 35 in owner points or be quick enough to qualify on time each week. Otherwise, he would end up missing the race. Behind the wheel of the number 44 UPS for Toyota for Michael Waltrip Racing, Jarrett attempted all 36 races in 2007, only qualifying for 24 of them. His best start was 3rd at Atlanta in the fall, and his best finish was 17th at Homestead in the fall. Overall, in 24 starts, Jarrett scored 2 top 20s, finishing 41st in final NASCAR Cup Series point standings. Also in 2007, Jarrett made his final Xfinity Series start of his career at Bristol in the fall of 2007, behind the wheel of a Michael Waltrip Racing number 44 UPS Toyota, starting 38th and finishing 23rd. Jarrett's final season in the NASCAR Cup Series was 2008, when he made the first 5 starts of the season, again behind the wheel of Michael Waltrip Racing's number 44 UPS Toyota. Dale's best start was 16th at Las Vegas in the spring, and his best finish was 16th at Daytona in the spring. Overall, in 5 starts, Jarrett scored 1 top 20. Following race 5 in Bristol in the spring in 2008, David Rudiman took over the number 44 for the remainder of the season. Following his retirement from active competition, Dale Jarrett took over as ESPN's lead racing analyst. In 2015, he became a part of NBC Sports' broadcasting crew for all the NASCAR events. Jarrett was inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame class of 2014. In 2023, Jarrett was named one of NASCAR's top 75 drivers. So, in 668 NASCAR Cup Series starts, Jarrett scored 16 poles, 32 wins, 163 top 5s, and 260 top 10s, winning the 1999 NASCAR Cup Series championship. In 329 Xfinity Series starts, Jarrett scored 14 poles, 11 wins, 103 top 5s, and 173 top 10s, with the best points finish of 4th twice, in 1984 and 1986. In 28 IROC Series starts, Dale scored 2 wins, 8 top 5s, and 23 top 10s, with the best points finish of 3rd in 2002. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take care.